Have you ever seen someone judged unfairly by someone in authority, only for the truth to turn everything upside down? This story is about assumptions, power, and an unforgettable moment of justice. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to King of Tales, where we share the most gripping stories every week. Tap that like button if you love shocking twists, and stay with us until the end for a lesson you won't forget. The airport was buzzing with activity on a busy Friday afternoon. Travelers rushed to their gates, announcements echoed through the terminal, and the first-class boarding gate was filled with sharply dressed passengers. Among them stood a young black teenager, no older than 16, dressed in a modest suit. Clutching a boarding pass, he stood silently near the gate, his eyes scanning the crowd with quiet confidence. As the gate agent announced the boarding of first-class passengers, the teen stepped forward. But as he approached the gate, he was met with a sharp, commanding voice. "Hold it right there, young man." The voice belonged to the pilot of the flight, a tall, older man in a pristine uniform. His expression was stern, and his tone carried the weight of authority. The teenager stopped in his tracks, unsure of why he was being singled out. "Where do you think you're going?" the pilot asked, his voice loud enough to draw the attention of nearby passengers. The teen hesitated but held up his boarding pass. "I'm boarding. I have a first-class ticket," he replied, his voice steady but respectful. The pilot narrowed his eyes and stepped closer, towering over the boy. "First class, huh? Let me see that ticket." The teen handed over the pass, and the pilot snatched it from his hand. He inspected it closely, flipping it over as if looking for something wrong. "This can't be right," the pilot muttered. "Where did you get this ticket? Did someone give it to you?" The boy shook his head. "No, sir. I bought it." The pilot's face hardened. "First class isn't for kids like you. You don't belong here. Go wait in the economy line." The terminal grew quiet as passengers stopped to watch the confrontation. Some whispered to each other, their faces filled with curiosity or discomfort. "I have a valid ticket," the teen said again, his voice calm but firm. "Please, check it." But the pilot wasn't convinced. "You think you can just walk into first class dressed like that?" "I don't think so," he said, his tone laced with condescension. At that moment, a woman in a flight attendant uniform approached, her expression tense. "Is there a problem here, Captain?" she asked, glancing nervously between the pilot and the teen. "This kid claims he has a first-class ticket," the pilot said, waving the boarding pass. "But something doesn't add up." The flight attendant hesitated, looking at the boy's ticket. "Sir, that's a valid ticket," she said softly. The pilot ignored her. "I'm not letting him board until I get confirmation," he barked, walking toward the gate desk. The teenager stood silently, his calm demeanor never wavering. Passengers around him exchanged whispers, some shaking their heads in disapproval of the pilot's behavior. Moments later, the pilot returned, his expression unreadable. He stopped in front of the boy and looked at the ticket again. "What's your name?" he asked, his tone sharp. "Ethan Anderson," the boy replied. The pilot froze, his eyes widening slightly. He looked back at the ticket, then at the boy. "Anderson," he repeated. The whispers among the crowd grew louder. The pilot's face turned pale as he suddenly realized who he was dealing with. Ethan Anderson wasn't just any passenger, he was the son of Mr. Anderson, the CEO of the airline. The flight attendant stepped forward, her voice quiet but firm. "Captain, I think you owe Mr. Anderson an apology." The pilot's jaw tightened as he looked at the boy. I didn't realize," he stammered. "That's the problem," Ethan said, his voice calm but cutting. "You didn't care to realize." The tension in the air was palpable as the pilot took a step back. "I'm sorry, sir," he muttered, handing back the ticket. The flight attendant gestured for Ethan to follow her. "Mr. Anderson, let me escort you to your seat," she said warmly. As Ethan walked past the crowd, some passengers clapped quietly, while others avoided his gaze. The pilot stood frozen, his face a mix of shame and regret. Ethan turned back briefly, meeting the pilot's eyes one last time. "Next time, treat all your passengers with respect," he said before disappearing down the jet bridge. This story is a powerful reminder that respect and kindness should never depend on someone's appearance. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to King of Tales for more unforgettable moments like this. Hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs a reminder to treat everyone with dignity. See you in the next one.